So I've just finished my run for today. I'm just going to go through some hip mobility and general stretching. It's going to take about 15 minutes. Okay? So I'll start on hands and knees. Hands forward a little bit and start easing into the back and hips. Push the hips back. Start thinking about your breath. Just be conscious of it. I'm going to take the knees as wide as the mat. Sit back. Push the hands down gently. 3 deep breaths. So what that does is tell me where I'm tight through the back of my body. I've got some tight spots. It's the top of my glute here. So I'll come to that later. Front of the body, left leg forward. Some moving hip stretches. And hold this one. Rather than pushing forward, just use your breath to sink forward. Try and release the tension through the glute muscles. If you want to progress this stretch, tuck the toe under, lift up the knee. A little bit of movement if that feels good. Come back to this stretch in a minute. Set the knee down to start working into the hamstring on the front leg. And hold. Keep a bend in the knee. Try not to round the back. Just have the feeling of sinking into the mat. When we do strength work, we use resistance. We push away from any contact with the floor. So stretching is the opposite. No resistance, just sink into those contact points. Okay, sit on this side, take that right leg back into gate leg. Move this way. And straighten that leg. Start coming into the upper body a little bit. Don't rest on a joint this hand. And rather than pushing into the lean, just use the fingers to reach. Lengthen that line. And bring that through. While we're here, just come back into your low lunge. Take that right arm up. And again, reach with it. If it feels okay, you can lean across to the left. Okay. Let's switch out the legs. Do the same thing on the other side. to feel a bit more space in your body. Shoulders are down. And hold. Progress at this point, if it feels good. Tuck the toe, lift the knee. And set the knee down, hips back, and start coming into that hamstring. Again, you use the breath. Resist the temptation to let the hips kick out to the left. Try and stay aligned. And we'll just hold that for a few breaths. Yeah, I can feel that little tight spot. I'm going to have to come into that. Maybe we'll do that next. After just taking that leg back, excuse my back, oops. Still in the hips. If you do run, hip flexors get really tight and you'll feel tight spots all over. Calves, glutes, low back, and in my experience, it all comes back to the hip flexors being too tight. So I spend a lot of time on front hip stretches. Feel free to pause the video if you want to stay on a stretch. It's intuitive, really. One side's going to be tighter than the other, so obviously you want to spend a little more time on that tight side. Okay, we were going to start looking at glutes, so I'm going to keep that leg forward, just toe heel across so that your heel and your knee are in line, and then let that knee come open, fall onto the outside edge of your foot, and just going to start easing into that. Yeah, I can feel that fighting. So lots of breath. And just start to linger at the depth of that stretch. So the knee is coming forward and down. And that's released sufficiently enough for me to set that shin down. I'm going to lean into that. My left hand is pushed against my right sole of the foot. Rest your head wherever. A little bit of resistance there of the palm to the sole of the foot. If this isn't accessible to you, you can use the bed and put the front leg on your bed in the same position, or a chair seat. Okay, let's walk your way up. Oh, do the same thing on the other side. It's tight on that side too. of plie squats and side lunges yesterday in Zoom camp, so that's what's doing this. Those glutes were working. Okay, so I'm going to ease into this static stretch now if it's going to go. Never push too far. Your body will tell you. You want to have a stretch sensation, but I always say it's just the other side of uncomfortable. I'm not sure this one's going to go. Okay, there we go. I'm going to sneeze, excuse me. Ah, it's disappeared. Remember that it's your breathing that allows those muscles to release. Muscles are controlled by the central nervous system, and your breathing has a massive impact on what state your nervous system is in. So big conscious breaths, focusing on the breath out. Okay, right. Where are we? Okay, doing well. Couple more minutes. Feet as wide as the mat. Lean back a little bit. Just come over. I haven't stretched quads. I need to do glutes again. I'm going to do a little bit of a shoulder stretch. Okay, so for glutes, I'm going to come into gate leg here. Everything's 90 degrees, if possible, as close to. Okay, and then I'm just going to experiment just to see where I need to lean to get into that little tight spot. Okay, so it's probably about directly forward for me. So if you've got blocks, really handy to have blocks close by, because at this point I could have my hands on the blocks, so I'm tempering the stretch a little bit. If it's too much to come down to the floor, breathe. Oh yeah, there we go. Again, I've just got a little bit of pressure going on, pushing my sole of that foot into my hand. Okay. Other side. Yeah, it's nowhere near as tight this side. So. Oh, that's still good. Okay. Hamstring Classic. I'll sit. Arms up. Dorsiflex the feet. Little bend in the knees. And just lean into that. The toes up extends the stretch. You can release it if it feels like a little bit too much of a stretch. I'm going to breathe here. Coming around onto one hip, can't forget the quads. I'm just going to pull that back like so. Much tighter on this side. So probably what I'll do a bit later is get my roller out, or my knobbly stick thing, or rolling pin, and I'm just going to roll around on that right glute, a little bit in the hip flexor and quad, see what's going on in there. Okay, hands and knees. I'm just going to finish with thread the needle. It's a lovely stretch to get into the shoulders and the low back. Just checking them in the right spot. Okay, so hands and knees, and then you just take your right hand, thread it through underneath and then basically you can just get down as low as you want to. I like to take that other arm forward, and I'm able to rest my temple down on the mat. But again, looks different for everybody, so just at the point where you feel like you can relax but you still feel some stretching going on, that is where you want to stay. Okay, other side. I don't time the stretches. Sometimes I count the breaths. I'm here for 8 breaths with this one. 8 breaths. Okay, now back where we started. Oh yeah, that feels much better. Let's just put these back. Let's go again. Oh yeah. Oh, that's good. Okay. So calf stretch. I'm going to walk this one. Pause there. I've got that right knee down on the floor, but if you wanted to, you can lift it so that there's more force pushing back on that left heel, kind of in downward dog shape. Oh, that's so good. And then the other one. Okay. Low kneel. Twist. And twist. Roll the shoulders.